Welcome along. If you're a slightly frustrated Sheffield Wednesday fan, then you're very welcome. We've got Matt and Tom to rough ride across all things going on Sheffield Wednesday. We know that the Sunderland game is long gone, but we've got some drama coming out of it to talk about. Mainly the thread that's going on social media is that some Sunderland game showed us that we've now hit our head on a glass ceiling. This is as far as we can go, says TCGH. The top six will only get further away and more expensive to achieve next season. Our owner can't afford to play with the big boys, and he can't squeeze enough cash out of us customers to do it either. We've got Matt and Tom to discuss all of that. Plus, there's a suggestion that Sheffield Wednesday have gone a little bit quiet on the pitch, and we've got some leadership issues. We'll ask the panel's view on that. We're choosing our February Player of the Month, and we're manifesting the playoff final. We're asking all our teams this week, 24th of May, who do we want to see at Wembley? Now, when we asked our Sheffield United fans this, they said they'd love to see you guys there. Quite genuinely. I won't tell you why. We'll stay towards the end and we'll mention why they want you there. Right. Let's kick off, Matt. What's going down in the crazy world of Sheffield Wednesday this week?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting week. There's been obviously there's been a conversation come out surrounding ownership and potential takeover bids this week, which has been well received by a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans, and they've had a lot to say on the matter. And then, of course, we've obviously had the small matter of a illness rifling through a 25-man playing squad, which is already stretched to the bare bones. We then obviously had the Sunderland game at the weekend, which is, the Friday night game, sorry, not the weekend, which has also threw up two more injuries to, I can't believe it, another defender and somebody who was actually really, really good on the night in Callum Patterson. He's received a lot of sticks, so I'll give him some praise here. So the squad is really stretched to the bare bones, and you're now going into a game against Plymouth in the upcoming week, needing to win, because we are off the back of, I think it's 3 defeats in a row, Mark, at the minute.
Yeah.
Which is, tough. So it's a pivotal moment in the season. It feels like, from my perspective anyway, it feels like playoffs have slipped away a little bit. I think that's a distant fading memory from a month ago. And now it's about, right, how quick can you get to 50 points and how far up the league can we finish?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, your fixture calendar has been pretty rotten the last month. It does get easier now, Tom, doesn't it? In terms of players you've got left to play. James Ledger says, Wednesday fans need to be more realistic. Is it an improvement on last season? Yes. Can we improve again next season? Yes. I hear the word build in a lot of football terms. Building takes time. We need to chill out, everyone. Has he got a point, Tom?
I wouldn't go that far. I think in general, he's correct, but with our ownership, you just don't know what's going to happen next. If you could guarantee that we keep Danny till next season, I honestly think we get playoffs, but I can't really see him staying. And if it does, it's just because no one's going to pay the $5 million. But yeah, I mean, I think also we probably could have got the playoffs if we just bought at least a centre-back and a striker. But I mean, now probably me and Matt will get a game at centre-back with all the injuries going on. I mean, if we've got one fit centre-half, I don't know how we're going to, the playoffs I think are a pipe dream now, but we just don't have the quality in both boxes. I think the last 3 games, we've actually played very well and we've come away with 0 points. So, hopefully we can get a win against Plymouth, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that because I watched you against Burnley and I thought you were really good, and I watched you against Sunderland and I actually thought you were even better, and actually probably should have got something out of that game. So if I'm frustrated as a neutral, Matt, you must be watching these games thinking what might have been.
Yeah. Do you want the tail of the tape, Mark? Let me give it to you in these blunt stats here. In the last 6 games, Sheffield Wednesday have had 84 shots, 27 on target, scored 5 goals. In the last 5 games, Wednesday have conceded 45 shots, 19 on target, 11 goals. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
It's genuinely, it's such a mental stat. Like, it is an absolutely bonkers stat. And as Tom rightly said, both boxes are a massive problem. Genuinely, at the moment, I agree, Tom. I think me and you could be, one injury away from, has anyone got their boots in the boot of the car? Like, has anyone got boots and shin pads? We'll sort your kit out. Don't worry, you won't have to pay subs. We are that tight. Tom, I'd prefer to have you up front than me because I am really slow. Like, I would imagine you've got a little bit more pace than me because boy, am I slow. But yeah, it's really frustrating, and it has been really frustrating. But ultimately, again, I think when the dust settles on this season, yes, it will be seen as a missed opportunity. Yes, you can point fingers of blame at a number of people, and we've done so over the past couple of weeks on here. But it is still an improvement. It is still an improvement on last season. We have got better this year, undoubtedly. But again, the moment our championship security is confirmed, attention is going to turn to the manager and what's happening next year, because there are, I count two, Sunderland, Southampton and Leicester. There's two clubs I would be amazed if they aren't in for the manager in the summer. And the third is the other relegated side who are coming down in Ipswich and Kieran McKenna, because I think he's next up for a job in the Premier League.
I just feel such an opportunity missed, because we're talking to the Norwich fans, Tom, on the similar channel. They were saying, look, they feel a bit like you, not with the manager, but they've got Saints and Sargent, and they know that in 8 weeks' time, if they don't go up or don't get anywhere near the playoffs, their best chance of going, they're going to lose the best two players. And it's a bit like with you and Danny, isn't it? That, you know, you never know what you're going to get at the other end. It's likely he's probably only got 11 games left with you. So why not just do what you can and push on and see how far you can get? But so many things in your way.
Yeah, I think also if we know this season we're just going to stay in the league, it's just tie down Gassama, tie down Deschamps Bernard, anyone who's got a bit of value. Because if you see Bannon, we got maybe two of our better players in Charles and Beadle on loan, and then a bunch of Michael Smith probably at the end of his Wednesday career, Callum Patterson. A lot of our squad is going to leave, and if we don't have a manager alongside that, as well as Gassama and Bernard, who are worth a few £1 million each, then we have no assets, and then we're back down to where we started before he came in. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we can tie them down at least before the end of the season.
Okay.
Just before we do move on, Mark, sorry, there is some breaking news on the pod, by the way, as there is a journalist called by the name of Jack Rosser, who I won't give airtime to the publication that he works for, but he's a respectable and reputable journalist. He has just put out an article saying Southampton are planning to part company with Ivan Juric in the summer. Danny Roll has been considered with a compensation fee expected to be lower. So there you go.
Wow.
That is on the minute.
I think we just jinxed it, to be honest.
Yeah, that is on the minute updates about Sheffield Wednesday. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just when you thought, what is it? Apostle Coglu says, when there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's just an oncoming train, isn't it? Right, let's have a quick chat about this leadership issue then that reared its head online following the Sunderland game. Thomas says, Wednesday lacks so much leadership in that Sunderland game. 2 big decisions. No one was talking to the ref. No one standing over the quick free kick for their second. The underdog mentality, Tom, gets us to this point this season and kept us up, but we need serial winners going forward. And there's a couple of others that kind of agreed with that and saying, look, we do have this soft touch to us sometimes. We do need to be a bit more nasty and vocal with things like referees and not being so soft, essentially. Have these people got a point?
I don't know if I go that far. I think realistically it's just kind of quality. I don't think it's anything to do with too much leadership. I mean, Ehekwe, Bannon, we got some experienced heads in there, and I think the ref is just, they made 2 awful decisions, and then, yeah, I don't think we can put that down to us. I think all season the refs have been bad. I think just from calculating it, I think we maybe be about 6 points better off based on wrong decisions and some that went our way. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Maybe up front, if we had a proper leadership goal scorer. But other than that, I just think the ref just had a bad game.
Matt?
I do slightly disagree with Tom. I do think there is a soft underbelly to this side that hasn't been replaced since Will Volks left in the summer. I think there is an issue surrounding, you never want to say it, but pressurizing officials into making decisions, because the standard of officiating, I'm sure you hear about it plenty, Mark.
Every week.
The standard of officiating across the league is appalling, like genuinely appalling. And at the Premier League, no, you can't sway it because there's VAR involved and all the rest of it. At Championship, I am of a firm belief you can. I have watched teams do it to Sheffield Wednesday this year, get out of decisions being given what feels like what you would typically refer to, I suppose, as a home decision. We just don't have that. If you take the first penalty incident against Sunderland with the handball from Friday night, I would argue no fan in Hillsborough could actually tell because the two defenders are so close together. There are a handful of Sheffield Wednesday players who are inside of 10 yards who will have all seen it. Only one person appeals. The handball that was for Sunderland's first goal is as clear as day. The referee has an unobstructed view. We only have one player who goes to the ref after the ball's gone in the back of the net. If everybody around them starts screaming their head off after the ball's gone in the back of the net, again, I know this is an appalling message to send out about respecting referees. I am well aware of that. But until somebody is going to stop people doing it, plenty of other clubs do it. We just don't have that gamesmanship side of our squad to us, which is surprising with Barry Bannon as your captain.
Yeah, spot on. Cheers for that, both of you. It's Plymouth then, as you mentioned, this weekend. Tom, now you absolutely destroyed them in the reverse fixture on the opening day of the season. It was Wayne Rooney's Plymouth, of course, back then. Not expecting a similar 4-0 scoreline this weekend, I'd imagine.
No, I mean, I'd assume maybe Max Lowe is out, so we kind of maybe Otigbayo or Palmer, someone filling in. I can see us again playing well, and if we're going to win, it's going to be 1-0, 1-1. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, but their manager seems to be working a bit of wonders recently. So maybe if Danny goes, we can reach out to him.
They've got a massive game against Hull this midweek as well. I mean, all their attention is actually on that one. And then is the back of your mind your game next weekend after the one following this one at all? We'll talk about it next week. We'll have a Blade on here discussing that game. You're getting itchy Derby Day pre-nerves yet? Is it something to think about yet, or is it we're not there yet?
My opinion, Mark, yes. I'm sure Tom will echo it as well. I think this run has also it's kind of like, I know we are still mathematically capable of making the playoffs and we are still mathematically capable to go down, but we are now pretty much guaranteed a mid-table finish with the amount of points that are left on the table. This sounds ridiculous. It's the only thing that's really left to play for. If you can, in some miraculous form, and I know we'll cover it more obviously in depth next week, if you can get 3 points in that fixture, and by some miracle Sheffield United miss out on automatics by 3 points, I'll be honest, it's going to be a nice feeling as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and I'm sure Sheffield United fans would echo the sentiments in the reverse kind of side of things as well.
Of course they would. Absolutely. Yes, and I don't know, there was that tweet, wasn't there? Of course, you've played Leeds, Burnley, Sunderland twice now. You've not won any of those, and obviously you didn't beat. So that's 7 fixtures against the top 4. You haven't won any of them. There's just something about football, isn't there? That just
I hope so.
That 8th fixture next weekend, it's going to happen. Right. Let's get February Player of the Month from you all then. So in the comments below, can you just let us know who you think should get the February Player of the Month? Tom, for you, it would be.
I mean, it's kind of scraping the barrel, I think, this month, but maybe, Callum Patterson, maybe. I think he's been pretty decent, but yeah.
Okay. Matt?
Max Lowe, which is weird as a defender being and getting it, considering how porous our back line has been. But Max Lowe is I think were it not for Shea Charles, I would have Max Lowe as the best player of the season for kind of like how unexpected his level of performance has been in a makeshift position, because nobody, when we signed him, aside from the manager, saw him as a centre-half, and he's been exceptional.
Okay. 2 good shouts there. Right, the last question we're asking all our teams this week is to manifest the playoff final. We've done promotion, we did relegation last week, so we're just going to finish off with who we want to see at Wembley. So we did add your badge into this discussion. There you are, in the little blue section there that might or might not in QPR and Millwall. But genuinely, Tom, when you sat with you in a beer garden in May somewhere in Sheffield with your shorts or the sun shining down you, which teams would you like to watch on the giant plasma screen at Wembley?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a relegation zone at the bottom there. But I think
last season it would have been, wouldn't it? QPR and Millwall, yeah.
Yeah, I think Sunderland will get the playoff final, and then maybe with my heart I'll go Sheffield United, just miss out on the playoffs, and then just miss out on automatics, and then face Sunderland in the final, I think.
Yeah, and obviously lose, I'd imagine. You said,
Okay.
Yeah, so they said they would love to see you guys in the playoff final, get battered 6-0, and then watch you all cry on your way home from Wembley down Wembley Way. As with that, so they gave you the final. They just, and then they said something like, you wouldn't see a Sheffield Wednesday shirt all summer there for that reason. In Sheffield, Matt, who would you like to see in the playoff final?
For the exact same reason. I would like to see, ultimately, firstly, I'd like to see Sheffield United in the playoff final so that they miss out on automatics. Ultimately, I'd like to see them lose in the semi-final, to be perfectly honest with you, Mark.
Yeah.
I would like to see, alongside Sheffield United, I would like to see West Brom in the playoff final. And I would like to obviously see a West Bromwich Albion win there. I think they have been lost a little bit in the swell of kind of like takeovers and Frank Lampard's Coventry City and how much of a mess that Middlesbrough have made up of what seemed like absolute guaranteed challenging for automatics and all the rest of it. I personally think that West Brom this year have been a up and down side, but they have clung on to that 6th place spot by hook or by crook. And I think that, Sheffield United don't have a fantastic record at Wembley. I know they'd all like to see us crying down Wembley Way, but that's happened a lot more times from a red and white persuasion of the side of the city. I'd like to see them play West Bromwich Albion because I think they would ultimately go into that game feeling overwhelming favourites. And wouldn't it be lovely, absolutely delightful to just see them concede a 97th minute loss and find themselves back in the Championship again? If for nothing else, Mark, it would be to see the look on Chris Wilder's face.
Brilliant. Okay. More of this next week, please. Right. Thank you for joining us then. Enjoy your trip to Plymouth. I mean, crikey, if you're heading down there on Saturday, then hats off to you. That is some journey, Sheffield to Plymouth on a March Saturday. We'll see you next week to preview the derby.